Hello and welcome. I know I'm not the usual face you see straight away on your ORCA podcast of a Wednesday night covering Backyard Survival 1 well. CK is a busy man, however, he's hoping to join us later, but I am here. My friend Jules is here.
And you didn't do the whole, like, the apex predators. You
I know. We're apex predators of Australian LRG podcasting. You know that. You love us. We're here. And we just want to get into it. We're very excited. We're having a little girl party tonight. So we've got our final 4 women outside of Hayley, our winner. But I'm so excited to talk to these phenomenal women. We're going to go one by one. We're going to chat to Megan. We're going to chat to Zoe. We're going to finally hear from Miss Zoe, who we've been missing all season. People's champion. And then we are going to speak to Jess. And then hopefully we can all just get together and have a bit of a chinwag towards the end. But, you know, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to dive right in because she's here, our runner-up, a social queen, my second draft pick who just played so phenomenally. I'm so excited to get in and chat to her. Megan, hello. Hi. Are you safe? Are you okay in Brisbane?
I am totally fine.
You're fine?
Yeah, so I'm in Brisbane and it's meant to be hitting, well, it's been hype all day, obviously. People just going nuts at Woolies and Bunnings. It's been quite funny. There's an eerie feeling, but honestly, there's not even a drop of rain yet. So where I am is completely fine.
Okay.
But yeah. But work's like, stay home. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, you're good. Is everyone checking in on you, being like, are you alive?
They are. No, it is nice. No, yeah, it's good. But yeah, totally fine, which is great.
All right, so it's done. You've seen it now. We've obviously waited a couple of years in the meantime. Yeah. How are you feeling now that we've seen it all?
Oh, you know, second comes right after first.
That's right. Your first foray out. That's incredible.
Other people.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's been really good. It's the wait, it kills you, like just waiting and waiting. But you know, Brian and Kyle are doing that for a reason. Like, not only are they working their full-time jobs and doing this, so you know, it's a labor of love for them, but I know they're taking their time because they want to do it right. They want to do it correct and get it to that perfect level. So we had to wait, but it's all been worth it. And we actually had a cast viewing party in the June, so like about 6 months prior, and it was kind of 90% there. So that was really cool. We sat for 12 hours and watched it pretty much. A lot of us. Yeah. So that was really fun, and also a way to like, we had like 5 minutes between eps to have little chats because we don't interrupt. So like quick little hashing it out kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah, we did the same thing with Sydney's season 1. We watched pretty much all the way up to like the penultimate episode. So that's a lot of fun to do. We're back together again.
Yeah, I'm just glad the world can see it because it's, you know, it's hard not saying anything. And yeah, just seeing how it all got together.
Like people in my life know all about what happened to me.
Oh, well, I told my partner what happened like straight away. I didn't tell my parents though. I wanted them to kind of go on the ride and enjoy it. So they got to see, you know, how it all played out, which is nice. Didn't want to spoil it.
What did they think?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, they loved it. They had all these theories about where I'd come, and yeah, they just every week I was still there, so they were really stoked. And my mum and brother are Survivor fans too, so that was cool.
Okay, well that's not that. Let me my next question. Like, what is your relationship with Survivor? Like, like, are you like a super fan? Like, where do you sit with Survivor?
Well, I thought I was a huge Survivor fan, and then I met all these weird Survivor people.
Yeah,
and I'm apparently not.
Yeah,
sorry, I've got a little makeshift table here. So I watched from season 1, episode 1, Richard Hatch. You know, I think I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something like that. Just watched all the US seasons. I went off US for a little bit and came back. Australia, New Zealand, which was very underrated. I love New Zealand. It's really good. I'm so sad it got cancelled.
New Zealand season 2, that's good.
Yes, yeah. I watched SA a little bit, and is that it? Oh, and UK. But yeah, I just watched that in Australia, obviously, and I thought, yeah, I really love Survivor. And then when I did Backyard, when they cast you, one of the questions is, do you know about orgs? I was like, I don't know what that means. What? I didn't know what an org was. I didn't even know the word LRG, so I was very out of the loop. I'm more in the loop now, but yeah, I was just like, I don't go deep like that. But yeah, I listen to all the AHAT podcasts and stuff. So yeah, that's actually, I started with Brian and Kyle's listening to their podcast.
Oh, cool. So, all right. Is that why you chose Backyard?
Yeah, I guess. So I knew Brian through a friend of mine. He lived in the UK and Brian was his roommate. And so I stayed at his house and he wasn't there. He was traveling. So I was at his house, met him briefly, and then we had each other on Facebook, and then he posted about this Survivor podcast. So I thought, oh, that's cool. Two Boys Talk. And then he posted that he'd done this fan-made one. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. So I started watching it on YouTube. So I've been there since the beginning, and he's asked me to play a few times, and I've always said no. And then I thought I'd just try out this time. And yeah, so, and I didn't know any other LRGs besides Backyard. And then I started discovering more. So it's been quite the ride. But yeah, that's cool. And it's fun watching it back, but weird seeing yourself. And you're like, oh, cringe.
Yeah, the LRG humbles you in terms of your Survivor knowledge. Like, I thought the same too. I was like, yeah, I'm a pretty big Survivor fan. And yeah, get there on the day and they're like talking about orgs. I'm like, what the fuck up?
I know. I'm not Tara level. I'm not Tara.
Yeah, I was humbled very, very quickly. I mean, I also play with like Michelle Pierce Donovan, who runs like the biggest Facebook group in the world. Like, I was just like, what? So I totally understand that feeling. Yeah.
But some of the best players, especially this season, aren't super fans. I don't think you all want to be super fans.
No, you don't.
Awful.
You don't. You need a real mix.
Yeah. You need your coaches, who don't know what's going on. It makes it. So I think it's good to have a mix. But I definitely we're on the loop now. But yeah, I just love the show. So yeah, it was cool.
And now you're a big-time Orc player.
Orc player.
You're a big-time Orc player. You're a fellow alumni of Pratt Viva.
Oh yeah, yes, that was weird. Yeah, don't know about the orgs. They're very time consuming.
Yeah, I'd have time.
Take up so much of the time. Like the first one I played, Dani was my loved one. She was in the game for a weekend. She's like, I can't handle this. I don't like it.
This is too much.
yeah, it was too. I didn't know what to expect. He needed some more girls, and he asked me to play. So yeah, LRG definitely better, but more mentally taxing, I reckon.
Yeah, especially for yourself. Like the further you get, the more mentally taxing. Because like you come out. And you can then you almost get to debrief, you get to chat to people as the game's still progressing and see it play out in front of you. Or when you're still in it, you don't, especially for yourself, you get to that end point and there's no debrief.
Yeah, exactly.
And, there's no debrief. You're in it and then it's done. And then you're like, what? What just happened? Yeah. So
I mean, we went, they're very, oh my God, I was shocked people have said it, but the production value is just absolutely incredible. Like Brian and Kyle, plus I reckon about 80 crew, guys specializing in audio, which I just think the mics were a game changer this season.
Oh,
huge drones.
How live tribals you guys had?
It was crazy, all lit up, and everyone who crews takes it so seriously and professionally. It's phenomenal. And we go from 5 a.m, I reckon, till I think night one finished about 11 p.m. and then it's almost the same again the next day. Yeah. So by the end of that day, you are just like a broken soul because it's all day and night of being paranoid. And that's one thing I noticed the edit. I looked really smiley and chill. I was not chill. I was so stressed. I was so stressed. And we finished, by the time I got back, shout out to Helen. She's a crew member whose house I stayed at because obviously I'd flown over. So I needed to stay with someone who could transport me, and we're really good friends now, which is cool. And we went back to hers, and by the time I got back, it was over after midnight, and my flight was at 8 a.m. the next day. That was an error.
Yeah.
So I was this broken shell.
Yeah.
Not good. But yeah, it was a very long day, but it had to be, right? They wanted the most of the light that they could.
Yeah.
So it was good.
And it's so quick too. So as much as you're paranoid and freaking out, you don't have time to kind of react to it. You're just kind of living in that moment.
I did the thing. Yeah, exactly. But one thing watching back, I looked more stressed towards the end, but I looked really smiley, and my goal was to be so friendly with everyone. I was really, really needed to do that. And so I looked really relaxed, but I was not. And that's another thing too. I don't know if you go into it, that there's that argument that Orange all made it to merge without going to a tribal, right? But I don't know if it showed it enough, but we were still strategizing even though we were winning. like we had our plans in place if there was a vote out. Like it was always going to be Altus first, then it slowly morphed into Mark. And Jacob, Haley and I were actually really tight. It more showed Jacob and Haley, but it was kind of always the three of us. And those conversations they were having about the two of us, I was having with them also. So, yeah, I was surprised to see how tight they were in the edit. So I don't doubt they probably were a bit tighter. It probably was a third, but in the real time, it felt like it was more of a three. But maybe that's just shows how good they were. But, yeah, it definitely felt like us three and then Artis and Mark. So, yeah, we didn't want to just kind of be complacent and not have plans ready. And, yeah, still looking for advantages and stuff, obviously. So,
well, you definitely seemed like a more of a like strategic heavy sort of a tribe. I mean, you had King of All Plans, Mark, in there with you. So I don't think there would have been a moment for resting to you know like rest on your laurels, even though you were winning.
Oh man! Oh my God, Mark! Can you even?
No.
I think it might be Haley. She's like, we get these half truths because he'd half tell you about something, but didn't tell you everything, so you weren't really sure what was going on. Yeah, it was very exhausting. But you know, he'd say, "Oh, this idol's expired, but this one's not." But this, and you're just like, "We'll cope with you. We'll deal with you later. We can't deal with that."
Too much,
but I cannot. But you know, and I think too, even though it says us three and the two boys, it kind of we all got along, and it was kind of also Mark in there. Like what I did with Mark was I genuinely liked him. He was really fun.
Yeah, he seems fun.
I like tried to stroke his ego. I'd like compliment him or say complimentary things to him to kind of butter him up a bit, keep his ego high, keep him going so that, you know, you stay on his good side. And I think he just saw me as a good number, but really I was just kind of beefing him up, puffing him up, keeping him on side. And we always knew we weren't going to take him too far. Like we could not. So, you know, I mean, you know, I must say I got lucky in terms of the tribe. Of course, my instinct at first was I was sad I wasn't with the girls, but I got lucky. Like I got Altus, Mark, Jacob, Haley, who are so strong. And I think that's why I was so paranoid about not being fit, not doing challenges. I wish I didn't go on and on about that so much. It's like kind of like, shut up. But like, because watching back, I was like, I'm not that bad. But in real life, I was like, God, I'm crap. And I thought if we did lose and they were thinking about tribe strength, they might have got rid of me just because they're like, well, what's she bringing? So, but I was just open about it saying, oh, look, I'm crap at that. You do that. So, yeah, look, I got lucky. I did get lucky with that tribe. And we would always go into challenges with a plan too. You know, we who can do what best and that. So, yeah, thanks for getting me through to merge, guys.
Well, babe, I mean, like, when I don't think you would have been first out physically. You had Altus who just had his motorcycle accident. So, like, you know, that's a pretty easy option there.
You know, what though, he still killed it. He did so well still. Like I know. Snake challenge for it. So yeah, exactly. I think the Mark Altus rivalry did me really well, actually, served me really well because Mark was a bit tunnel vision there.
Yeah. Well, talk me back to that tribe because, like at the beginning, you were unsure about your tribe when you first joined them.
Yeah.
Like professionals, where you're very unsure about them. What was? I mean, you spend time, you get to love them, but that initial reaction was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was just obsessed with Jess. So
that's why I came my next question. I was like, and the Jess of it all.
Oh, delusional, right? Yeah. Look, I don't know. I think I was so. In my eyes, and they didn't say the same in the edit, but in my eyes, when we got to that first scene where we're looking for the puzzle pieces, my mind was on connecting with people and finding advantages. And I didn't really give a shit about the puzzle pieces, but I connected with Jacob first because we had the same shoes on. Okay. And I connected with Mark and Jess. And that's kind of the people I talked to. I didn't say a word to Haley. I actually found Haley quite standoffish. Like maybe her approach was a bit different to mine in a sense that I was like straight in there chatty, and Haley maybe was kind of rolling with it. Hey Jess, rolling with it a little more slowly, which is quite funny because we end up being so close in the end. So it's kind of who I connected with. I don't know why I said that at the beginning. Maybe I was just, I don't know. Maybe I was just cut. I wasn't with Jess. But if you look at my Meet the Cast, I was like, the key in Survivor is to find a number one. You find your number one and you're good to go. You got to have the person who has your back. And I was just really just all about that. And Jess and I just clicked, and straight away I was like we actually, I'll give you a little secret. We actually had that combo where we're like, we're locked in. We'd already had that, but it wasn't on camera.
Okay.
And I was like, we have to have this conversation again in front of a camera. And she's like, who are you? What? I'm like, no, if it's not on camera, it doesn't count. We're going to make this
people need to know. Yeah.
If it's not recorded, it didn't happen.
Exactly. I think she's like, whoa. So we actually went back and like said it again. And I think, I know you kind of asked players like the biggest regret, and I don't have many big ones, but I guess my biggest regret would be not checking back in with her, because I'm like, we're good. And and I've come to find out since that she didn't want marking, didn't like Mark. Well, didn't like is probably strong, but didn't like Mark, and didn't really connect or trust or have any conversations with Hayley. So in her eyes, it was, oh, well, Megan's with them, so I'll do my thing. But in my mind, I was like, oh, we're good. We don't really need to talk. So I really should have checked back in with her and reassured her that I was with her, because, she was fine for her life the whole game. Like, I was not even on her radar.
Yeah, exactly.
But in my little orange world.
Yeah, she was trauma bonded. She was not like, oh, this, like, she's like, okay, well, they're a pair. I've got my person here. Like, let's just, like, keep moving. Yeah. A merge chat between you guys may have made all the difference.
I know, so stupid. But you know what? Like, that instant connection is real, because like me and Jess are now really good friends. I've gone over to Perth and stayed with her, and we talk heaps and stuff. So I guess it was a genuine connection, which is really cool. But maybe I should have filled her in on my grand plan. But I can totally see why she didn't get it, because she had so much going on, and like I never really checked back in. So quite funny
to do. Like in that merge scenario, you've got all these new people that you've never really talked to before. You're trying to build new connections. In your mind, me and Jess are solid. I don't need to talk to her.
Yeah,
it's
as Mark would say, we don't need to waste time. Yeah. So we talk about the beginnings. Yeah, the beginnings. I don't know why I didn't like that tribe. I guess I don't know.
You wanted to
tell you. I just wanted to Jess. And look, I'm glad I didn't end up agreeing, because that did not go well.
Yeah, you sat pretty for a little while.
So it kind of worked out for me. But I did get lucky being with those guys. They were really switched on and strong. So we love our orange.
Yeah, of course. And I think your biggest strength in the game, and having spoken to you outside the game now, is your social game. Like, was that something you knew going in would be your strong suit?
Yeah. Look, wasn't going to be challenges, just quietly. Unless it was one I knew all of them from the show. I just, I still strongly stand by the fact that if that puzzle stayed vertical, I probably would have won. I was so annoyed. It was so windy. And with that one too, they had the clues out at the seat. I didn't. They made no. I don't know about you guys, but those.
They made no sense to me. I looked at them and I was like,
I liked your strategy. I'm just keep trying it. You'll figure it out.
Well, I've seen it so many times. Survivor. It's just making it level and putting the thing on, right? So I was like, why would I? I thought, I'm not good at running, so I'm not going to get tired running. I'm just going to stand it. So anyway, look, I knew it'd be social. I'm chatty. I can adapt, but I can also sometimes say the wrong thing in groups and not read the room enough. So that was one of the things I wanted to test on Survivor as well. But I like to think I do have strategy as well. I feel like I was in. It was a bit annoying in the edit, because I was in a lot of conversations, like nearly every conversation. And all those decisions that were made from Orange, I was a part of. And I was on the right side of every vote, except for Tara, who played the shot and dart, which, who was to know that would be successful. So, I wish I'd said the final tribal like I was on the right side of every vote. But, social was definitely my plan going in, for sure. It's like, know your strengths. So,
100%. And I mean, you can be social you want, but you just need to have backing in the game too for your strategy too. Like, so, like that wasn't me trying to say at all that you weren't.
Oh no, it's all good.
That was just your. That was the thing that I really think saw you through.
For sure.
You didn't necessarily run strategy. You were in strategy with people that you really, really trusted, and because they liked you so much, it was just like, well, let's fucking go.
100%.
The people that you were aligned with, I think it was kind of important that they didn't see you as the strategic one, because someone like Mark, if you're being strategic, he's going to cut you. So I think We saw it in your confessionals. I definitely saw it from you.
Yeah. I think I think being in that alliance really paid off. And, you know, I know there'd be people that would say, oh, well, you just went with your alliance. But you know what? When you're playing the game and you're in a sweet, sweet alliance and you're running the game and you're not going to just flip for fun. Like, that's just insane. You flip when it's the right time, which is what I did. So, yeah, I'm gonna I play to my strengths for sure, so sure, 100%. But that's so nice.
That's so nice.
Zach. I did not know Zach was Jess's brother until afterwards too, by the way, which is hilarious.
once you're told, it's like, how did I miss this?
100%. Yeah, and he was the hydrolyte king. It was like 36 degrees, and we were dying, and he was bringing his hydrolyte ice box. So love that. But you know, like that's no discredit to Hayley's game either. Like,
no,
she was like seeing her confessionals. I was like, holy shit! Like I didn't know all of that. So yeah, she did a really good job of hiding just how strategic she was. Because you'd suggest something, and she'd be like, yeah. So yeah, really, she did great.
But on the whole, you guys like sticking together. I don't think people realize how difficult it is to have an alliance stay together because. People are itching. They want to make a big move, especially if they think they're going to the end. And then it becomes I think this person's going to move, so maybe I should first. So the fact that you guys stayed together as long as you did is a testament to your social game, I think, because you convince these people to want to stick with you. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And for me, the power of it was getting Zoe and Jess on board with us. They really did have the power in that middle, you know, after merge, 100%. If they went with Pink, it'd be a very different ending, I think. But I think Jacob did a great job of getting those girls on board. I think I did a great job. Hayley did pretty good with Zoe, but she didn't connect with Jess very much. And Mark was Mark. So the girls came with us, and I think that made all the difference. So I guess the social game paid off there. And then, at the end of the game, I know there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I was never going to flip on Hayley. That was like the one person I wasn't going to flip on. And, we were a lot closer than if you're listening, that's what an ally is, just saying.
No, bless. Oh, look.
She's backstage. She's backstage. I can't see her, but she's backstage. Go over this conversation.
I mean, I think, Zoe, you can correct us if we're wrong. I think you were like 19 when you played. Like, she was just a baby. And I thought she killed it. And, you know, for those green girls to go from their tribe to the final fight, like, oh my God, so good. So good. I think being with a strong alliance really got us through as far as it did. We also got really lucky with tribe swap. I mean, I was with Hayley, Tarkan, Mark. So again, super lucky. And then when we flipped again and we had Tara, I was like, oh, that's who we'll get out, you know. So it all worked out really well in the end. Yeah. And, you know, I also think maybe I should have done more on my strategy. What I learned watching the edit was, I'm answering all your questions for you. I did. I'm a talker.
No, I love it.
I've been thinking about it. I think I did too much of my strat chat and thinking in confessionals and not in real life, because that's what I thought watching back. Because in camp, I'm just going, and I'm taking it in. And then I used to get to confessionals and go, and just like talk it all through. That was my time to like take a second. So in the edit, it's good because you get a bit of both. But in real time, I'm like, maybe people didn't quite know what I was thinking because I was doing it all in confessionals. So hopefully it made good TV, but maybe I didn't show that enough. But still made it for the final two though. So
that's also goes back to, you know, at the start you said that, you know, your concern was that you have a tendency to put your foot in your mouth. So maybe that was a bit of overcorrection there. You didn't say enough in front of other people. So maybe if you had said more, they would have taken you out earlier. So who knows? Yeah, 100%. No, that's so true. But the funny thing is, of all the orange, I was the first one. I was targeted, like by Jess and that. I'm like, what? So I would have thought Hayley would have got a few more targets given her challenge wins and stuff. But anyway, I feel like that was potentially trying to avoid an idol. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. But
No, it was really fun. I mean, it was exhausting. The feeling straight after backyard was I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back now, I'm like, that was really cool. That's really fun. And I learned a lot about myself and how I interact with people and stuff. It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. And now I'm part of this weird little community. Yeah, it was great. And, I went on and did some crewing at Brisbane Survivor as well, which was cool to see the other side of the coin. And it was much less stressful, which is nice. So
you get to have a little more fun behind the camera.
Yeah.
Crewing's fun. I'll tell you that, yeah.
Yeah, crewing is fun. Crewing's cool. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I
would. I think now that I'm rested, I definitely would. And maybe I do more of my strategy in real time rather than confessionals. Practice some puzzles. I don't know. But yeah, no, I play again. No, I think you'd be crazy not to.
Oh, 100%. Before we do log you off and grab Miss People's Champion, I do want to talk to you about the idol snatch.
Yes. It was not a snatch.
It was a snatch. It was a snatch. Come on now.
It was the, I remember when it happened, it was the controversy of the day amongst the crew. Because, of course, those people that filmed it, ran to all the other crew were telling Brian and Carl, Jess and I have debriefed. Okay. And she did admit she's not a huge Survivor fan. I mean, you'll find out when you talk to her. So she's like, I don't even know what ours look like, what they're wrapped in, how, you hear her go, what do they look like? I'm like, oh, it's wrapped in fabric. And she did say she lifted the bush and she hadn't seen it.
Okay.
And so I saw it and I grabbed it.
You didn't take it out of her hand.
No. There was right in front of her, and for some reason she didn't see it. You're just like, your hand goes hoink.
I know. The idol was played for her anyway.
Exactly. And I did see on the pod, CK's why didn't I put Jess down and play the idol?
Yeah, talk about because
you nullified your own vote.
I know. I think my thinking at the time, and again, very tired, was that all the votes are on Jess, it'll look more specky when they just read Jess doesn't count, Jess doesn't count, Jess doesn't. It'll look more spectacular if it's all these votes for Jess. And I was also very confident they would all vote for Jacob. I was confident they would. So, yeah, look, I know CK's you could have played this one for this person, this one for this person. You could have done this.
A little party moment, yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that would be sweet, but and I probably could have. But in the moment, you're like, shit. If I don't play this for me and I get out, what an idiot!
100%,
it's too
absolutely.
risky. It's too risky, and and we need to get Jacob out. He's so lovely and had a great story. He had to go. That was it, really. And then I know there's talk of I could have got Hayley out in the 4, because the power kind of went out of my hands a bit after the 5, and I have no more idols because I didn't win anything, and I could have flipped on Hayley. But at that point, I was just so loyal to her, and we all thought that the Green Girls had such great stories. We weren't going to beat them. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it was really great to kind of that whole final 5. We all talk and they were really great to be in the finals. And I love that we were all girls in the final
4. Yeah, absolutely. So it's never been done before. So kudos to you ladies. Well done.
Yeah, it was great.
It's a very strong final 5 in general.
Yes.
Anyone, when that finale started, I'm like, any one of these 5 could win and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
So I think that's incredible as well.
Yeah, no, we all deserved it, I think. So I was stoked to get to final 2. It was crazy. I wonder what would happen if there was a final 3 or a different combo. We haven't done a group chat talking about who would everyone have voted for. But I was just glad I got 1 vote from Jess, which was good.
Yeah,
but I do stand by that. I don't think even in Real Survivor the juries should be able to discuss, because you can poison the well. And you can get groupthink, and then you get to the final and it doesn't really matter what you say. I know Jess had 0.5 seconds to quickly get changed and head off. So, So that's what I'll say on my end.
No, I definitely think you deserve some more votes. I think you played a fantastic game. I was very happy with my draft pick. I was just like, hells yeah, let's go. And I would love to see you second time out. I think you would be even more of a force to be reckoned with.
No, that'd be awesome. No, I'd love to. It'd be great. I don't know if I play another LRG. I know some people do play a few, but I feel like my loyalty is with Backyard.
Okay.
I just think the boys it's incredible what they do, and they're very level-headed, and I think that's a good quality in a host as well. So
well, shout out boys for All Stars. Megan is putting her hand up, just so you know.
Yeah,
saving yourself for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the pod. It's been really great. You know, sometimes you feel like you're in the ether with these things. And I hope, I'd love their episodes to go viral and get more views because they deserve it.
Oh, thank you. That'd be amazing. We would love to. We'd love to raise our profile.
For all, because after all.
Exactly. But thank you so much. It's been such fun hanging around. We'll chat after the pod. That's all right. Bye, girl.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. And here she is, the People's Champion. Are you ready?
Yeah.
People's Champion, Miss Zoe. Hi. How are you going?
Good. I'm really good. Can you guys hear me okay? Or?
Yes. All good. Yeah.
So the question we've all been wanting to know, did you know you are the People's Champion and what that means?
Well, I had to ask the group chat when it was announced. I was like, guys, what is this? And they're like, you're missing out. Go to the ORCA pod and watch it. So I have been watching. It's just been not live because I've had work. Okay. So I know every time you guys were like, is she even watching? I was like, I am. I'm here, but like later. So yes, thank you so much for like doing all this. It's very cool to see a different perspective that's not just your mates or like people being like, why did you do that? It's good to see. I don't know.
All the people that you did it with who you already know what their thoughts are. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's really good.
So what I asked the same thing in Megan, like what is your relationship with Survivor? How did you get into this?
So I definitely watch more like Australian Survivor. So coming into this world of the LRGs, I was like, I don't think I fully understood what I was stepping into and the players I was going up against. Because on TV it looks very, let's say, perfect and everyone's, got it all together. But then, I think I very much underestimated the whole experience. And so, but I don't think I realized that at the time either. Like when people were saying, oh, like Mel's a really big player, like Kath, I'd be like, yeah. And like, I was just so nonchalant about it. Like, and then like after doing my research now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, do you understand like what you're going up against?
The 2020 vision of it all.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just watched it with my family. So when Kyle reached out to me, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Like I'll audition. I'm not sure how it will go. Yeah. And then here we are. So
here you are, the People's Champion, and down to the final four.
Yes, I know. People's Champion, like it confused me. I was like, oh, does that mean I wasn't picked? But then I realized it was just a chance thing. So
no,
that was Eddie's concern because he didn't even have a little picture on his. So he was like, no one picked me. Like what?
Yeah, I know. And now I've cost CK money, but that's okay. It'll be worth it.
That's good. That's a good thing.
He loves to do it. Don't feel sorry. He would do it anyway. It's
volunteers
fun. It. He loves it. I just lost my train of thought. That's good.
So when the game starts, so you're in this one world scenario. Who did you click with at the start? Because I don't think we saw a lot from you in that first episode when it's all over the place.
Yeah, it was very intimidating. It felt like a school camp in a way. You're like thrown into the bush and then you have to go do this challenge together. You kind of just small talk with everyone, I guess. And I don't know, I tend to like sort of drift towards people my age, but then listen to the people older than me, if that makes sense. Like it was very much a, hey, what's the pack going with? So I did see people like obviously like Jess and Haley, but I think I talked to lots of people. Like I think I chatted to Jacob, DC. I knew Altus from like the film world. He's an actor and I'm like in the film industry. So I was like, oh, like I recognize you, but I didn't know how to explore that without I don't know. Everything felt like every chat felt like you would increase your threat level at that stage. So it was like keeping low, like this is so great and like we're in the bush. But I think everyone was at that same mindset as well, like just little small talk So I don't think I gravitated towards one person as such. It was very much let's blend in with the collective. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you're all together, that's kind of all you really can do at that point in time, because you don't know who's going to end up where.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of want to fall on the right side, so you don't want to, I don't know, close anyone out. You want to just be welcoming to everyone. So
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I did. Yeah.
And then you get this bounty advantage. And you probably went the best way about it, just went, I don't even care, just got rid of it. Talk me through what's that when you read this bounty advantage?
Well, it was very much like a luck chance thing. I mean, we didn't really get to, obviously you could pick who you wanted to pick, but depending on the color that you went with for that first challenge, you really didn't have a say. And so Mark, it fell in the hands of Mark, who was already thinking strategically from the moment we left off. But I kind of saw it as, I don't want to put forward anyone's name. So if that name comes up, yes, I'll circle it, but I won't be pushing a name that's on my list. Especially because I didn't at that first hour, you're like, I don't mind everyone here. I don't really want to push anyone away just yet.
Yep.
The same thing of welcoming everyone so that you're falling on the right side of it. But yeah, I kind of probably was a bit too nonchalant about it by not telling anyone, by just chucking it. I don't really care, but it was probably my plan of just staying cool, calm, collected, not trying to throw anyone's name out. But look, if Tommy unfortunately was on my list and that name was being thrown out, you'd be silly not to circle it. I just wasn't pushing anyone's name at that point. So yeah.
Yeah, well, fair.
You're putting a target on your back from the beginning.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. Altus obviously being I've voted for the person who got the bounty advantage. That's I wouldn't be seen doing that. I was just very chill, very calm.
I think after that episode, I was like, why didn't they just vote out Mark? So that's what I would have been thinking.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But maybe people were too intrigued by him as a player and just wanted to see what he could do at the same time. I think, sometimes you want to honor people by being that was a hectic move. Let's keep him around a little bit longer because he deserves to be here. But then, everything.
Yeah, there were so many people too. It's different if you're in a tribe of 8, where and there's someone being really, really showy and you can kind of have the small enough chats to get that going. Whereas 16 people at fucking once to go to one tribal council, it's just how do I pull any numbers in this without being the one then targeted?
Yeah. You don't want to lead the pack of 16 people because there's too many eyes on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I just went with the status quo, and that was probably what most people did, to be honest. But yeah.
And then you've had a hell of a time. And then you kind of just had a hell of a time. Talk us through round after round after round back at Tribal Council. What is that like?
Unexpected. I'm sure Jess will say the same. You're you step into it, this whole tribe, it's wow, this is quite, magical. We're all together. This is going to be great fun. And then the reality hits that, but your time could be ended right now. And you're in this tiny, tiny little tribe. We were trying our best. We were definitely trying our best. We weren't trying to throw any challenges. It was just not going our way. And then you really have to start thinking short term and being okay, I need to survive now, not, think about a tribe later on. So it got really hard. Watching back, it was I feel manipulative, or I feel dirty for looking in people's bags and telling against people.
We love that. That's fine.
But honestly, look, at the time, it's just I just want to survive. I just want to play this a little bit more. So you kind of do those mean things, and then you look back and you're if I'm not under those circumstances, I don't think I would have done that. But yeah.
It's a game, and I think most people who are in this are very aware of that, or they learn it pretty quick. I feel like I have my personality is very similar, but I go to a different level playing Survivor than I do in real life. I'm a lot more cutthroat in Survivor than I am in real life. So there's no I don't feel like you should feel bad for trying to preserve your skin.
And like the game offers that, especially it's like it kind of, you know, leans into it. We're looking back, sneaky as. Yeah. Because I saw that on Australian Survivor. I was like, surely that's a rule that we can do here. And I've never, I've like, I don't know, no one was like.
Unless you're told you can't do it, go for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
As long as you're not stealing anything, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And like when you only have, say, like 10 minutes to make a decision, you kind of just need all the facts together in front of you, so you're not making the wrong call, and then just go with it. But yeah, that was sneaky as. I love all the little one-liners that everyone has. I was hoping for an episode title, but that's okay. Whatever.
Oh, you didn't get one? I wrote down who got them.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the edit, to me anyway, it looked like it was very quickly you and Jess that were at the top of that tribe. Is that how you felt in the time?
I don't know. Like, we just had this little bond. We could just look at each other and just know. I'd always be like, are you legit? Are you legit? Like, is this legit? Because everyone else I could just see through. And I was like, you're telling me stuff I want to hear maybe at the time, which is fair, Survivor. But I think just our age and like the fact that, I don't know, we were just on that same wavelength already. It didn't feel like we were on the top, but it felt like we were going to be on the same page. And in a small tribe, then you're just automatically somewhat near the top if you've got someone else to bounce off. But yeah, it's also sad knowing that we voted off Luke and like Kath and Mel and just people that we were like, you know, if we were in a majority in the big tribe with all of them, it would have been lovely to work together. But it was survival from the get-go. But yeah, even our matching shirts, like we were so shocked about that on the day too. We were like, okay, this is meant to be.
Yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing now. Yeah. It doesn't take much.
That quickly, and you can bond over the silliest things, but it'll happen.
100%. It was like, oh, cute, same shirts. We're definitely meant to be. Like it's
twinning.
It was so hilarious. Yeah, twinning, exactly. But yeah.
And then when you came to merge, I mean, you came in pretty powerful. Like everyone wanted a piece of the two of you. Was that a shock to you too? Were you surprised people just didn't want to split you guys up?
It was overwhelming because it was like it felt like we were so in our own little world that stepping into the, you know, seeing all these other people that you hadn't seen what felt like days, but it was probably only hours.
Yeah.
Like, hours. What's happened with you guys? And they were having like spa days and like talking about their lives, and you're just like, I was literally dying. Like I was like, we almost got
fighting for my life. Yeah.
So yeah, going into that, we thought, oh, like we're easy picks. But I don't think we ever got too stressed because we had made those like little tiny connections with people from the very beginning, and me and Jess were quite sociable, so we were able to just, you know, go with the flow and just talk to people. And yeah, I don't think we ever thought, oh, that's us done. We thought, okay, we can just jump onto either of these bandwagons quickly. And yeah, it was a little bit stressful though, being like, okay, which ones are we going to go with? Because I feel like, you know, one sunk and one did really, really well. So that was probably the only, major stress. But I don't think we ever thought, okay, we're done. We're going to get kicked off at that time. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And what ultimately led you to go with orange over pink?
Look, I think just me and Jess maybe had chatted with more people from pink, and we saw them as like a stronger tribe at the time, and maybe that they were going to last a little bit longer. So to lengthen our game, it probably was just like easier. And also just like, I think I talked to Jacob a bit at the beginning, and obviously Jess had talked to Meg, and just all the pieces fell into the orange side. And we did try with the pinks, but it just felt a little bit more disjointed. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when there's a stronger connection with people and it just seems to work better, you're going to tend to go towards it. Although it was really scary.
Yeah. Going back to Jacob though, like, sorry, I completely skipped past the Jacob and Tara of it all. Talk me through that, because like obviously like you guys bandwagon in with Tara, take out Jacob, and he's back pretty much instantly. What is that like when he's walking back into camp? What's that feeling like for you?
Yeah. hadn't, we were like, oh yeah, people are just going to redemption, like hope you come back, like that's what was happening. And then when it's actually you're like, okay. But that decision was based off just the vote no vote thing, which was again simple. It was harsh, but because Tara had, I think, 2 votes at the time and Jacob lost his vote, it was a matter of like, oh, you know, if someone doesn't have their vote, it's, you know, it strips all your power away from you. It was kind of just, it just made sense at the time. But yeah, to see him walk back, you're like, I don't know if he trusted us he probably had the thought of like, oh, these girls voted me out, but I don't think it affected the game that much, because then we ended up working with Jacob again later.
You flip on Tara pretty much instantly.
Yeah, maybe we used Tara as a shield a little bit, as if she was driving the ship for that stuff. Again, me and Jess wanted to survive, so if it wasn't us pitted against each other, it was fine. But yeah, him walking back, it was like, oh, congrats. But then also orange grows bigger again, and you're like, all right, like when is it our turn to get kicked off the orange side? Yeah. So yeah, that was probably what was going through my head at the time.
I feel like I would have just been like, fuck me. This is going to rebound so badly. But like, Doofy took it very well.
Could you imagine if Green came back though? Like, obviously that would have also, it's like, would they come back to us? I don't think so. I think they would try to get us out. Like, that's probably because they would have.
I think Mel would have.
I think Mel would have come back to you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's probably also a comfort thing. Like, that's probably what they've been thinking about at redemption, and just
for sure.
It wouldn't make sense. But yeah, that would have been also hectic to have someone from Green return. It would have been very cool. But it didn't happen. Yeah.
One vote in particular that I want to hear from you about is the Tara vote, the second time, when she was pitching the vote against Megan. It seemed to me like you were really the swing vote there. What was the reason that you decided to go with taking Tara out over Megan?
Because Tara was hectic also from day dot. And it was like, you would talk to her and she would know like plan A, B, C. And you're like, how are you even thinking about all of this? So I think just threat level at the time, it just seemed like Tara was a better option then. But it was so hard to get her out without her knowing as well, because she talked to lots of people. She kind of knew your plan A, B, C as well without you even knowing. And so, I think at that time it was just like comparing threat levels and who I see as maybe, and I think maybe Meg could stick with a plan as well and just run with it. Whereas Tara, obviously having all her plans, it was a bit harder to like workshop with, because you just didn't know if that was the plan it was going with, or if you were on a different plan of hers. So yeah, but did it work then, or didn't it work? I can't remember now.
You voted her out,
but the one before that as well, like trying to get her out. Yeah, I mean, like, how can you even predict that? You can't.
You can't. That was just uncanny.
Yeah, exactly. And we were all shocked, and no one was mad. It was just like, look, they just
can't be mad. What do you do? You can't be mad. It's just like, especially because by that point you're all kind of having fun. You're getting to know the game. So when something like that happens, it's just like that, like, yeah,
100%. So maybe also like almost getting her out. You know, it was like the right time to let's get her out. You know, straight after the next possible opportunity.
And at that point in time, New Era had only just started US Survivor, so seeing a shot in the dark hit probably hadn't ever happened. So like to have it happen in real time would have been like crazy, because Caleb was the first time it hit, right? 44. So it just it took 4 seasons after it's introduced for it to hit in real time. So for it to like hit first go out in one world, amazing.
I know, we were so confused about it, as you could tell. Me and Jess were like, so if you don't have your vote, can you use that? And like, I don't think we had enough time or brain space to know that we could ask production either. It was almost like we did feel like we were in Survivor, and we did feel like there was no help outside. There was no other this was happening, and like that was funny.
You guys would have had no downtime. Like you would have like just been go nonstop for that first full day. Like zero downtime for you guys.
yeah, I remember, having that first day and then sleeping in a swag, being like, oh, yep, it's so quiet out here. Like, it was quite nice actually to just, lie there with the crickets. Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah, how good's a swag?
I know, how good's a swag? What the heck? Yeah, it's very hectic. Oh my goodness.
And then we also saw you have a bit of challenge strength. Is that something that you knew that you were going to be good at coming in? So did you win 2 individual immunities?
I think so.
Yes.
I can't do it. Yeah, 2, I think. No, I think because I hadn't done, lots of people by the sounds of it had done their research as well. They kind of either studied up on the past challenges or had a good understanding of like my mind was just like not in that space at the time. It was like, if it's a endurance challenge, I think I might have a better chance. But if it was like a strategic, like the bowl placing challenge where you had to like make a triangle, like I hadn't done my study about that, so I would have been so bad. No, I think I won at the right times. I don't think
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if like having less people in the challenge helped or if it was just the nature of the challenges that happened. But I did have a hope that I would win something going into it, and it was nice to have that necklace around my neck, especially after not being safe for all the other tribals. It was a different feeling. But yeah, I enjoyed them. I wish they would be at like party games and stuff. Like that would be so fun. Like just all right.
Yeah. Jules and I say this all the time. I wish there was like a place you could go to that was just Survivor games. Like you could just drink and have dinner and play Survivor games and immunities and things. Yeah.
I would love that.
So much fun.
I actually look forward to the challenges more than I did, obviously, the camp and the tribals, because it was a time to also just, everyone's on equal playing fields. We're going to just have, one-on-one competition, but it was also a time to just like, okay, let's just zone in and just, focus on this one thing. So I actually enjoyed the challenges, even when they were difficult and strategic.
Well, you would have that ability to hone in, being a netball umpire. It was the one thing I had in the video. Pardon? I know. I gave it to you. I know I did. But I was like, but if she's an umpire, it's different. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, but we had one, and to get your consistency.
Oh, it's a very different. Yeah, it's a very different thing to throw a beanbag to a netball. I know that. I was just giving you it.
Oh no, I wish. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I wish we had a little bit of a bit of luck during our green tribe time, but that's okay. Yeah.
And then we see you almost take out that final immunity challenge. What I want to know is, if you won that, who were you taking to the end? Had you thought about it?
At the time is different to what I'd say now, maybe thinking about it. I think Hayley did a very good job at playing her game down. It's very, it's easier to see now, like after the fact, but during the time I didn't see her as a massive threat, but maybe that's just because I was never super close to her and I didn't know maybe what was going on between like the orange tribe a lot of the time. Probably at the time, maybe Hayley, that would have been a really tough contestant to go up against. I think I would have, like, knowing all my facts and all the like confessionals, I probably think I would have gone up against Meg. Just because I think like we're both really good talkers and we could have bounced off each other. Whereas Hayley was good at, like, I think during like my time on the jury, she was good at like just pinning facts and leaving it as that. So I think I would have had more wiggle room with Meg. Not to say that Meg also didn't have a good story. She would have been hard to go up against, I think to me, the two orange girls were similar in my eyes, and me and Jess were very similar. So it didn't really matter who I was going up against for the oranges. It was just, I just knew I couldn't take Jess. And I think I played that card too early. I think I voted her out just one step too early. I think I was too confident that I could have won that final challenge. I don't know. You just get a bit of confidence at the end. You're like, yeah, I can do anything. And because I won that immunity during that bowl toss, I think that was final 4. I think, I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I think I got just that one step too early. I think, yeah, if I would do it again, I would keep her around just for one, and so we could equally battle it out at that top 3. You know, we both probably deserve to be there just as much as each other, and yeah, that final challenge is so annoying. It was so close as well. It was a very close puzzle piece. I think I had like 2 more to go or something. I remember it being really tight, and then I thought, oh yeah, got this, but I didn't realize what Hayley was doing behind me either. And so then I'm not to say that was an advantage or disadvantage. I don't know. I was really just in my own head at that point, but yeah, it was so close.
Close. Yeah, and it was definitely advantageous for Hayley because she could have a look and see what you were doing, and you had no idea. It's the same thing when like Jacob lost that immunity. He couldn't see you. He couldn't see what you were doing. You had an advantage by being behind him.
Yeah.
I think
that's all for you. He's like just Zach's here for the jet slander.
Wow. But no, I think Hayley was going, like you were going out and she was going up, or she was working on a different section to you. So she'd done her part and then could kind of copy you. So there was definitely an advantage there.
And it's also just a pace thing. Like I remember, I think I was singing during it. Like I was trying to I was so scared and like shaking. I was trying to sing and just like chill. And if I knew someone was approaching that quickly, I think I would have sped up and stopped singing. But yeah, I don't know. I was just like, it was just cool. Even with that bowl challenge, we had to balance the bowls on like that little plank, that foam bowl. I was closing my eyes and singing, and I should have just opened my eyes because I don't know why I closed my eyes and I couldn't see that I was tilting forward. It was just, I don't know. I just kept singing during challenges, and I think I took my time a little bit too much on that fire one. If you go back and watch, I'm singing in most of them. I think in that bowl challenge as well, it's like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee or something. I don't know why I got inspirational. I don't know why I thought I was, a motto genius. But, like, I think that's just how I kept myself cool, calm, collected.
Well, you were the whole game. You just seemed very cool, calm, collected. Like for the hecticness of the game that you were forced to play, at no point did I see you be like, like you were just like, all right. It was just like, this girl. Like I don't know how she's managing to do that, because I would have just lost my damn mind to go through what you have been through.
I think it was a shock. I think I was just shocked the whole time. It was just shock after shock, and like even like when I won that final, the last immunity that I won, and CK was like, "Why is she not reacting?" I think it was honestly just shock and being like, "What's next? You know, this is great, but what's next?" Like,
what do we have to do?
Yeah, it was just full shock.
Especially like that deep in the game, Final Four, you know that suddenly you've got a lot more power. So it's like, oh, my decision is probably going to be the one that makes it. So if you're thinking ahead, I can understand why you reacted like that.
Yeah.
Is there any world you go to the end with Jess?
I don't know. I was like it would have been hard to find differences. I think we definitely did it together the whole time. It would have. I didn't see a world where we could, you know, honor each other's games being up there at the same time. So I don't know what she would have done if she was, you know, in my position as well. If she would have voted me or kept me around, I think probably kept me around. I think I was just, focused on surviving at that point, and I think I just voted her off one step too early. Like I could have made that decision at Final 3. I don't know why I thought number 4 was
the time.
But it just happened so quickly. And people are good at talking. Like I already knew that we had similar stories, and I wouldn't take her to the end. Yeah. But I think, you know, when people are just feeding you information.
Oh, and Hayley and Meg came at you strong. Like they came at you like, you cannot go with her. This cannot be a thing. Like they work their magic.
Yeah, and I knew I would have to do that at some point, but I think just that one step earlier was the wrong call. And if I did that the next challenge potentially, and where if I was in Hayley's position, it would have been a lot better to make that decision. But yeah, sorry about it. Sorry,
sorry, not sorry.
Everyone's gonna play manipulative when you're in Survivor. It's just the platform to do it. You just gonna
absolutely. It's the one time you can do it, and it's not a bad thing.
Exactly.
And they hadn't had the previous day that you had, so they were a bit more ready to go.
Yeah, they've had the time to think about the words and what they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas me and Jess never really had that. We were just always on the fly, and so even like going into that final pitch, I think me and Jess would have still been a bit all over the place, not having had, a break to be like, okay, what's actually gone down across this whole game?
Yep.
Like some people may have had that opportunity, and we would have just been like, all right, here's everything. It would have been a lot to unpack. So low-key happy that I didn't have to do that pitch, because I was also really scared to do that pitch. It's quite daunting being like, okay, now list everything and get
tell me why you should win. Yeah.
I know, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have seen Jess at that final too as well. She definitely would have got my vote. So
you would have been formidable, that's for sure. And we can get into that with her next. Thank you so much for coming on, Zoe. It's so nice to speak to you. Like finally, actually get you in. Congratulate you for being the People's Champion. And then everyone else should thank you for being the People's Champion too, because now you're all gonna get.
Now we're coming to Perth.
CK and Jules. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a great pleasure to chat about your game and find out more about the shit fight that you went through. And you killed it. You did so well for a brutal first half of the game. So I hope you're proud of yourself.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on here. It's been good to finally be on the show live. It's so sad when it's not live, because you can't interact.
Yeah, and no rebuttal.
We love the live comments, so yeah.
I know. So it's been great to watch. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. We'll chat to you in a bit.
Perfect.
All right. Here she is, my winner's pick, my first draft pick. Oh, phenomenal game. I've loved everything about it. Jess, all the way from the UK.
I'm actually in Spain right now.
Hey,
yeah, I'm on a yoga retreat. But I've got an awful cold, so nothing's going to plan as per my Survivor game. So yeah, my Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy. I've just gone on my 5G, but if it's having issues, let me know. So yeah, so that's what's going on.
That's right. I mean, thank you for joining us while on your yoga retreat. Must be taking time away.
Of course. Very excited to chat.
Surely you should be on a digital detox right now.
Oh, I pretty much have been, to be fair. I've been smashing through the ACOTAR books for everyone who's a book nerd, just living in my little paradise. So, but no, any time for Survivor, I'm there.
Yeah. So, what coming into this? Obviously, you have your family who've played, your dad and your brother. So, what were you coming into this with a certain expectation of what you wanted to do? Tell me through that, because surely they're just giving it to you before you start.
So when I applied, it was pretty much because Zach and my dad were saying, you've got to do this, it's going to be the experience of a lifetime. And I was always keen to try something new. This sounds like a good bit of fun. Didn't really have expectations for how I would do, because as many people have implied, I'm not a huge Survivor fan. I've probably watched maybe 2 seasons in my life when I was younger with Zach. Doesn't mean I don't love the game. I'm just not a huge kind of TV watcher. But since I've gotten a lot more into kind of social deduction games and things, because I had such a good time. But I didn't really have an expectation. And I was pretty concerned that that Brian and Carl wouldn't want to have me in, because it's another Bulldog family, and it's we've had that story, you guys have had enough chances. So I was really, which would have been totally fair. So I was really determined to not have my game linked to them at all, because I didn't want to come in with the same narrative that my dad did, being I'm playing for my brother Zach, and for my son Zach, or he kind of talked a lot about that. So I was really determined not to, and so determined that it literally didn't come up at all in the season, as you would know, and that's somewhat of a regret of mine, because I think they were both so engaged on the day, like they were watching over me at every point, and like they were kind of my rocks on the side, like seeing them be proud of me and whatnot. So I wish that they'd almost come into it more. But yeah, I really had no expectation. And other fun fact, I actually didn't get cast by Brian and Kyle, and so it was only 3 weeks before that I got called in as a fill-in. So I didn't really, so I didn't really have much time to think about my game or what I wanted to do before going in. It was kind of just like, all right, I'll go for it. And the other important context is I was actually quite unwell at the time. I've got a bit of a history with chronic fatigue, and so at that time I was not really doing very much. I was only working 2 days a week, like 4 half days, so I was kind of barely existing.
Brian and Carl are developing a Guess Who board game, but you need to figure out who the bulldog is.
Yeah, there's still one more bulldog in the family. It's Sue Bulldog, my mum. So we'll see if she ever pops up again. But yeah, so essentially, I was very close to saying no, because I didn't think I'd be able to make it through the 2 days. And I barely did, to be fair. I was pretty unwell after it, but no regrets. So yeah, just super proud that I even got through the time, let alone the game that I played. And it also is my excuse for why I didn't win a single challenge, because I was physically and mentally very limited at the time, which is also quite hilarious, because in my Meet the Cast video, I kept talking about how I was going to be a physical threat, which is now just hilarious looking back.
Well, I mean, to suffer with chronic fatigue and then to have the first day that you did, like that's crazy. Like, kudos.
I was I think it was around the time that we went to the smaller tribes with Tara and Jacob, that I actually, like, I don't even remember it. Like, I was mentally so exhausted. And I remember Tara talking through all of the, how she was really coming hard with all of the strat chat. And I just remember, like, looking at her going, oh my God, brain, like, process what she's saying. I have no idea what's going on, which is also funny looking back, because, when I say, I trust you, I don't trust you, I trust you, I don't trust you, I think my brain was just like, but yeah, no, super proud that I even stayed awake for all of it, let alone got to Final Four.
So let's go back to the beginning, right? You're at 16 people. Megan's in love with you. How are you feeling about everybody? Like, where are you sitting coming into that? Like, what are you looking at? I
had lots of good connections with lots of people. Like, I think I'm generally quite good at, like, disarming people quite quickly and being super friendly, and I think that was absolutely to my advantage. So I was feeling pretty strong. Like, I had really good chats with most people. I think you can kind of see that in people's confessionals. So yeah, I definitely was feeling good about Meg. She wasn't deluded about that, but obviously, yeah. And I was feeling quite good about, like, any tribe I'd get in. I felt like I would have at least 1 or 2 people who I'd had a good connection with. So when we went into the Green Tribe, I was really happy with everyone in the group.
And there was no part of you that looked at your tribe and went, oh, we could be in trouble challenge-wise here, or you were just happy with everybody?
Didn't have that foresight at the time. I mean, looking at the Orange Tribe, like, my God, we should have all seen it coming that they were going to be absolute challenge beasts. But I didn't see the Pink or our tribe as necessarily that bad. I mean, I think, like, in the very first tribe, Zoe and I were, like, the first to the end of the very first one. So in my mind, I was like, maybe I am still a physical threat. And, I thought she's quite good. This is good. We're two young, like, decently fit people. But yeah, I think we just, nothing was obviously played to our strengths. I think the main thing for us in Green was the puzzle side of it. As Zach alluded to very kindly in the comments, I'm not a puzzle person. And I think nobody really in our tribe was. I think Mel was probably the best of us. But yeah, I think every challenge in that first pre-merge had, like, an element of puzzle, and that's kind of how we, I think, we started on the back foot every time.
Yeah, like, that's not my forte either. I'm always like, if there's a puzzle in the challenge, I'm like, no, I'm not helping.
Yeah, I'm like, get me away from it.
Do not put me up there. I will not go well.
All right, guys, I'll do the puzzle. You guys can go.
Thanks, Jules. Appreciate it.
All right, and then what happened? Jules.
then what happened? There's a lot.
I think everyone else was kind of just like blown through the pre-merge and just all right. So jump into merge with you. We've got a whole lot to get through before there. But I asked Zoe this question. Like from what we saw, it looked like you two were on top of that tribe from the beginning. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it was the second vote. Like we had this chat where we were pretty much like, you and I, like, this is it. And I think both of us had been feeling it, but neither of us had really verbalized it. And I also don't think we had felt that we needed to make that kind of intense bond until we realized that we weren't really in a good position with Green. And if we kept going to tribal, like being friends with everyone wasn't going to cut it. So we needed to really have something strong. So that's pretty much when we kind of locked that in. And I think Luke did a very good job of planting some seeds of uncertainty about Mel in terms of her being a threat, which now I see all her chats and, you know, how loyal she is. And I'm like, oh, maybe that was a misread. But I definitely felt a little bit unsure about being super close to her because I wasn't sure how long that would last. So I think between the two of them, Zoe was a safer bet. And Kath was awesome. Kath was absolutely lovely, but I felt like she was probably closer with Mel. Looking back and the way she talked about her game and our connection, that probably wasn't true either. I think she would have been my number two with me as well. But yeah, Zoe was an easy go-to for us having the same shirts at the end of the day.
Turning 11th place, and it doesn't take much.
It really doesn't. Yeah, I think the age was obviously a factor there, and that comes into I think games with a lot of people. You think you can relate to someone better, and I think I could tell that she was feeling very friendly towards me. So I was like, cool, let's lock that in.
Yeah, perfect.
And then we get to the swap, and the same thing we talked about with Zoe, the Jacob over Tara. You said it to us a few times in the live comments that it came down to the no vote for you.
Yeah, 100%. I really, really liked Jacob. Like us alongside Meg from that pre-merge and Tarkan probably as well. I wanted so badly to work with him. So I was literally stoked when we got put on the same tribe. And it hadn't clued in for any of us that very first summit that all of us were at, which was just like the perfect little story arc, that was when he'd lost his vote. So when that all came to fruition, which was actually probably only came up around 10 minutes to our kind of tribe time. And then we were like, oh shit, we hadn't even thought about this. So when that came up, it was like, oh, what can we possibly do here? Because yes, we could have put two on, we could have done two. Tara could have done two on. Yeah, but I didn't know whether she really wanted to go for Jacob. Like, I didn't know whether she was going to go for Zoe or I, and neither of us were willing to risk a 2-2 and then one of us potentially going. Like, the risk was just too high. And I'm a fairly risk averse person, so I think I was like, no chance. And at that time, I didn't have an aversion to Tara in any way. Like she scared me. She scared the shit out of me. But I also thought like she seemed, nice and genuine and would be someone who was fun to work with. So as much as I really wanted to take Jacob, it wasn't going to work. But that's also why when he came back, I was like, yay! Like I was actually like, we can repair this bond, because I thought that he would understand that we didn't have a choice with the no vote. But understandably, he would have he should have held some grudge, although I don't think he really did. He was really good about it.
It's so sweet. I was just like, I would not come in that way.
Right? I know. That's because he's just such a legend. But when we then all went to vote to Tara, and I know you guys were like, why would you do that after just saving her? It felt like there was literally no hope for saving her, because it was the entire tribe gunning for her, and it was like, we're in this great position where we can go either way. Do I really want to align myself with the person that nobody else wants to take through? So it just felt like that was a little bit of a lost cause. And even if we'd gone with her for 1 or 2 votes, I don't think people would have ever stopped gunning for her. So it just didn't seem like the right move.
She's definitely that kind of player. It's just like, she's always going to be
targeted at some point. And she can go far. So.
Yeah. Yeah, would have been fun to see her. I was literally so excited when she got her shot in the dark. Like, I think I was clapping. I was like, "This is the best."
Yeah, we were just talking about with Zoe. I'm like phenomenal for that to have hit. Like, I want to like go back and like just screen record that moment for her.
Yeah. And for it to hit for her as well, of all players, like someone who's such a fan of the game. Like, yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
I think she's the only person that could be pissed at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like all the people on that cast, she's the one who gets what the shot in the dark is. She understands the merits behind it. She understands the pros and cons of playing it. She has like full understanding of what that looks like. I mean, you see that with her knowing that Jacob doesn't have a vote.
Yes.
She gets it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. No, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned when Jacob came back in, you guys came up with the plan to your final 7 alliance. Talk to me about that twist.
As in, I think you guys have been right in saying that it didn't seem like a big deal, and that for me, like, that was my read on it too, only because I'd already been like fortunate enough to be part of so many other cool twists. Like, I already had the idol clue. I'd been in the first summit, so I'd seen how that had happened. Like, and I kind of was like, oh, I don't know if this isn't enough to make me align with people who I don't see a potential bond with. And like, for me at that time, Hayley wasn't someone who I saw around with, and even through to the end of the game, I never did. So I was like, I don't see myself siding with her, who was really closely aligned with Mark, because of this potentially better outcome at a final 7 challenge.
A couple of puzzle pieces,
yeah. So for me, it was never really a thing. But I mean, I wasn't opposed to when Kate was a big fangirl of the final 7 and wanting to, stay closely aligned because of that. I was like, cool, that works for me. And who knows, maybe that was one of the reasons that Hayley decided to pick me over Kate at that 4 split as well. Like, I think it probably did still help me. And in terms of the lie that we came up with, I actually think that was mostly me, which is really embarrassing. But the other thing is, as not being a fan of the game, right, I didn't know how quickly we were going to go to merge, and how quickly that lie would be literally meaningless. So it's quite funny looking at that thing of us all sitting there eating the pizza, just being like, yeah, that makes complete sense.
So yeah, immediately.
Yeah, and I think fortunately everyone was too busy thinking about merge to really care too much. So that worked out fine.
Well, that because I've messaged you and Megan about that tribal, like where Kate goes home and Tara goes home.
Yeah,
and how terrified I was that I would have lost my draft in one fell swoop. Like, I did it for you, Dani. It was all about you. That's right, surely you know this. Like, what was the stress level? I mean, you're stressed as is, but this particular, you got this far, and then for this to be suddenly like completely out of your hands because you split the tribes.
I thought I was gone. Like, I was fully ready to go. My dad, my brother standing on the sidelines, they told me after they thought that was the end of it for me. Like, they were apparently waiting on the sideline ready to like hug me as I came off. Yeah. So we all thought I was gone. It was an incredibly unlucky switch for me because I had literally probably everyone sitting on the other side of that I had a good relationship with, but I had no relationship with Hayley. I had no relationship with Mark. And Kate, I'd always liked Kate, but I really hadn't had too much to do with her at that point. So yeah, it was unlucky, but I really I worked hard to try and convince Hayley to take me. You see me being like, oh my God, I'm so glad it was you on the tribe. Like, the one person I can trust. Like, I was really trying to butter her up. Looking back, I'm like, how did I even come up with those words? Because I think I'd barely spoken to her, but maybe it worked, and she kind of thought, oh yeah, she's got a connection with Meg. Like, maybe she does want to work with us, because I was really trying to sweet talk her. So maybe I should give myself a little bit more credit that I worked hard to pedal for that vote. But obviously, I was still so unsure that I played my shot in the dark. And I'm kind of glad I did, because there was definitely part of me that was like, do I vote Kate and solidify my chances, or if there's a split that I don't go home? But I almost didn't have it in my heart, because I so badly wanted Mark gone as well, but didn't think that vote was going to be useful. So yeah, I think playing the shot in the dark felt like the only option at the time, really, that would have any sliver of certainty of me not going home. So and not breaking my moral compass at that time and voting Kate.
And then we get a couple more votes in, and you are gifted the legacy advantage.
Yes.
And we query your understanding of the legacy advantage and what that meant for you moving forward. Can you talk us through your understanding of the legacy advantage?
So I didn't know anything about the legacy advantage at that time. So lots of Orange that they all knew Tarkan had it. I was there in the conversation that wasn't tight enough in their minds. So I didn't know there was this magical item that you could only play at 2 points in the game. In the Survivor games that I'd ever watched in the past, I didn't realize that there was even such thing as an idol that was only applicable for one tribal. So when I received it in my tired state, stressed state, I thought it said like from 6 onwards. Like I didn't realize that it was at 1 council. So I was like, amazing, I've got this thing for the next few votes. Looking back, I'm like, of course it would have stopped at some point, but I didn't even think about that at the time. So yeah, I had this like thing that I thought I was like on top of the world. Like I was like, I'm immune, this is amazing. And so yeah, I was trying to hold on to it for like a vote or two. So I knew that I was at risk that vote, but I was so sure that everyone was more scared of Mark and more threatened by him and everyone knew it was the point in the game where he needed to go, that I was gonna survive, which I did. So I was like, I'm gonna like take this risk and save my idol to the next round. And I was also trying to get Meg to flush her idol on me, which thankfully she didn't because I needed it the next time. But I was like trying to bait her into playing it to make her less of a threat. Which is also why you can see me looking at her heaps. But yeah, that's what happened with the legacy advantage. And I'm so sad that I didn't play it for Tarkan, and he would have just been like, what the hell? So that was, yeah. But afterwards, everyone was like, oh my God, like, were you saving it to, say that you didn't have to play it, show that you were strong? Like, that's what everybody thought it was, which was nice of them to give me that benefit of the doubt. But yeah, no, in the end, production came to me. They didn't tell me for vote 5, and then I think it was vote 4 where they were like, they came to me during a confessional and were like, by the way, you need to reread the thing, because they didn't want me to make an absolute fool of myself and stand up and play it, which I'm like so very grateful for.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, but no, I don't think people realized how much I didn't know the game, which I'm like, really happy about, because I think they all thought that I knew more than I did, based on the way I was able to kind of like pick things up. So yeah, that's my big error, but it didn't work out too bad in the end because I survived that vote. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had balls of steel not playing it then. Like I was just like, girlfriend.
Yeah, I know.
Like I'm like,
what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I know, screaming at the TV. Yeah. Yeah. Stress. There was so much stress. Oh God.
Yeah, we had 2 days of stress.
Yeah. Part of me, like I think especially Zach and Dad, they actually wanted me to get out earlier, because I think towards that point of the game, I was very mentally fatigued, and like they were kind of hoping that I'd go out, because I think they were at one point Dad wanted to pull me from the game, but thank God he didn't, because I got as far as I did. But when I eventually got out, I pretty much like walked off and was like, oh my God, thank God it's over. Like I was having the best time, but I was at my limit. So yeah, it was a pretty wild ride.
To make sure you didn't beat him.
Yeah, exactly. No, he never wanted to pull me. He was like, do it. He was my biggest fan. It was so nice.
That's so sweet. And that would have been a big motivation too, like to just keep going, like knowing you have those people there to, if it does all go tits up, you can just fall into their arms at the end of it. Because I know it can be a particularly lonely thing if you don't have support.
Absolutely. No, I'm so lucky. And it's been so fun after having an experience that we all went through to bond over, and like debriefing the game over and over again with Zach and Dad. Like not many people get that, so I'm really, really fortunate that I've had them to talk through. And pre-game, I had a kind of 2-hour sit down with Zach at his house, being like, right, what's going to be your game, and like he's helping me like figure out what I should do. And so yeah, no, very, very lucky to come from that.
Well, what was the outcome of that chat? What was your plan coming in, like based off your conversations with that?
Well, the original one was the before the cast was the physical threat. I think we neither of us thought that I would be that strategic, but I think I surprised myself with that in the game. Like I think I was more strategic than I realized, and now if I ever got to play again, I feel like I'd be way better because I actually know more about the game mechanics and things. Like when Mark was talking about all of his super idol stuff, like I couldn't possibly be strategic about any of that because I had no idea what he was talking about, and I didn't have the knowledge to question him. So there was quite a few times where where you just kind of were like, okay, I'm gonna have to just take your word for it because I got no idea. So I'd really, I think playing again, I'd be a lot more strategic. But our strat chat was really going on the social angle at that point when the physical was out the door. And I think we will also just kind of like have fun with it, like take the opportunities when they come. Playing in the first summit where we didn't know what was going to happen, and I was traditionally more risk averse, but it was like, oh, stuff it, you only play it once. Like let's just go for it. So so I think that was most of it.
And that's a very cool thing because now we're all in the community, we get it, we understand what LGs are about, we kind of get the survivor nerdiness of it all, and until you do it you don't get it. So to like already have an understanding of it coming in, but then knowing you can come out and just like mad dog about it with people, already people that just like love and adore you and are not going to give you too much shit. Like how cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me like I'm crazy. Like they're like, all right, okay, and then you podcast about it. Okay, cool.
don't know until it happens. And I remember, funnily enough, when Dad did his season, every Wednesday he'd go downstairs. I was living with them at the time to listen to the pod, and I was always like, "What is this like thing that he's obsessed with?" My mum would be like, "Oh, he's on the podcast again." Like, so he would always come down. Now I get it, Dad. Like I'm there every week.
I'm on the pod.
Yeah, I'm like in England. It's like 11 a.m. halfway through my work day. So I like put a meeting in my diary and like sneak off to like watch the pod. Like, so I get it.
I love
totally
that.
Get it.
Thank you so much for for such an effort.
Oh yeah, well, it's like Zoe said, like being there live is more fun because you can participate.
We love
so
it more.
You get more love from us the more vocal you are in the chat.
Thank you for that. I needed it.
I mean, that definitely influenced CK's draft choices.
Well, he didn't pick me, so Daddy, you made the right call.
Sure did.
He had one chance, I think.
Yeah, I think you went before I did. This is my first pick. And then we get into the depths of the game. We get to 5, then 4, all women. Incredible.
Good girls.
Like, we love the girls. And then it's just like orange versus green.
Yeah.
And you seem more open to the idea of keeping Zoe around than Zoe keep. You talk me through. I mean, you've done the math. You've worked through what your options were. What happens
at final 4?
4, yeah. Work me through 4, and you win at 4.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely would have taken her. Like I was so shocked. Like I think I said in the thing, I was like, I don't understand why this has gone so hard. Like I thought it was a really clear 3. And I was genuinely happy when she won that challenge. Like that was actually the challenge I was the closest on of every challenge we ever played. Everyone has like a regret challenge. That was my regret challenge.
Yeah.
But when she won it, I was like, oh, perfect. Like if anyone couldn't have won it that wasn't me, it was Zoe. So I think maybe my downfall there as well was that I wasn't pitching as hard at her to keep me because I didn't think it was going to be such a difficult decision, whereas the others were going so hard, and obviously that really did work in their favor in the end. So yeah, maybe I should have been more onto it because she'd obviously voted for me the one before, so I think she was already a foot out the door with it. But yeah, I also didn't see Hayley as much of a threat at that point. Like I think it's wild because when you watch it, obviously you're like, oh my god, it's so clear, but it really wasn't when you were when you're on the ground playing it, because she kept all of her really strategic talk. It's like she kept all of her strategic talk to her confessionals and to her inner circle in the Orange tribe. So I did similarly to Zoe. I kind of just saw her as same as Meg, like they were just two that had been tight in the Orange for so long, and they'd gotten through with a lot of strong people. And I say in my pitch to kind of get them to get rid of her that I kind of just saw her as someone who hid behind these strong people and did pupping in the back just as Meg did, but I didn't see it as more than that. So that's probably why I didn't gun for her sooner. But in that tribal, my angle was all about her being a challenge beast, and that was definitely the thing that was obvious to me. And obviously everything I said came true, which is like some part of some justification, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of the only angle I really had. And obviously that final tribal where I got out was pretty tough, trying to like talk about like me not being a threat or why Hayley was more, but her whole argument being that I was a good talker. So I was pretty much between a rock and a hard place. And at that point I was pretty exhausted, and I was like, all right, I've got nothing left in me. Like, if you guys want to take it, like, I remember just being pretty, a little bit, what's the word? Yeah, a little bit like, oh God, I've got nothing else to give on this. So that's how it happened. But no, I would have taken her, and then final two, I would have taken Meg. I think both Zoe and I had been open about that, and we both knew that we weren't going to take each other to two. But I also would have been so happy if she'd won the next challenge, the puzzle challenge, which she would have, and she had taken Meg, and at least she would have had a chance at winning, because I really just wanted to see one of us up there, and that's like 100% truthful. So yeah, I would have taken her, and then I would have taken Meg, but likely she would have taken Meg because I wouldn't have beat her in the puzzle, and who knows then.
So Meg's there in every outcome. Meg is at Final Tribal Council.
Yeah, I genuinely think so.
Social game.
Yeah, because we just had the same story. But obviously, I thought Meg was a real contender for it, and I mean, so that's why I voted for her. Her social game to me was more impressive than what I'd seen of Hayley's. And that was the thing that I respected above all at that point, especially because it was won well. So I just hadn't seen Hayley do the kind of amount of networking that Meg had.
For sure.
So yeah, that's kind of why I went that way.
Yeah, and Meg kind of extended that olive branch for you, whereas you and Hayley never got in that rhythm with each other. Like, because she was always like, the green girls are too powerful, never wanted a bar of you. Whereas Meg was like, like, come on. I always felt that there was a bit of a war with Hayley, and I'd never realized that her and Zoe had gotten a bit closer, and that Zoe had kind of managed to get past that, which was really, really cool to watch back. And yeah, to Zoe's game, I think that was kind of her little back alley kind of that I didn't see, that she had a connection there. But yeah, it was probably like Hayley, DC, and Coach are probably the only people I never felt like I connected with. So that was for me why I made that call. Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. I mean, kudos to your game. Like I said, this is how you went through it, and now to know what you're battling with, like, even more kudos to you. Like, I would it's all edited too, but like I would never have thought that. You seemed so switched on. I thought you were so impressive strategically to keep fighting the whole way through and get to that point and be our fallen angel. Like, well done. Like, and then to come out and be like, "Sucked in, I beat your dad and Zach." Like,
I think
good.
It's really hard to edit a social game and to show it, but I think for you in particular, we saw that through the screen. Like, for me, I understood why people were gravitating towards you. So yes. I think
thank you. Thank you so much, guys. That's really lovely.
No, thank you so much. All right, hang around. I'm going to take you off for the river. Hang around. Megs, jump back on so we can all chat. That wraps up One Well. I mean, I'm sorry. It doesn't wrap up One Well. We've got two more episodes. We have the tea party coming up with Annabelle and some fabulous guests. And then obviously the reason we're all here is to assemble, what is it?
The Congress of Orcas.
The Congress of Orcas. I was going to say the congregation. The Congress of Orcas. All right, to assemble to vote for your favorite ORCA of the season. We will vote on that. I mean, it's pretty clear, but democracy must happen.
Hey, there's a 3, 2, 1. We don't know who's going to be second and third.
Correct. Yes, we'll probably do a countdown. Loved it. Was girls only. Absolutely, because this was a girl power season. There's no shade to CK. He's an honorary girl sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. Girls only for a very girl power season. Thank you so much, everyone tuning in live, everyone who's going to listen to us after the fact. So happy that Zoe actually gets to be here live for this one. We will see you all next week. Oh, we won't see you next week. That will be Annabelle and the tea party, but tune in because we'll get all the behind the scenes gossip, and she's very, very good at getting that. And then we will see you back to present the ORCA of the season. And then early April, we have 100th episode coming up. We're very excited about it. Cannot believe that is actually a thing that's happening. But if you have played an Australian LRG, your name will be mentioned. So tune in. We look forward to seeing you. Oh, should I have to find the music so we can dance? Bye, everybody.